Welcome back, guys. We are here at the AI CPA PFP Symposium. This is Rebecca. Her and I sit on the committee together. That was planning this. So we've been spending a lot of time together in the past year, and we've met each other several times before that too, right? So tell everybody a little bit about you.
Sure. I'm Rebecca Jackson. I own an RIA. We have about 130 million under investments, and we work primarily with tech professionals. So we do a lot of tax planning, a lot of estate planning, trying to help people from like their mid-30s, 40s really get up to financial independence and then enjoy that financial independence once they reach it.
So talking about the enjoyment of financial independence and understanding money to be able to enjoy that, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I feel like has been the topic for the past 2 days here, where we're talking more about being advisors that are more emphasizing on goal orientation, not so much of the mechanics. So are you the guide or the mechanic?
Yeah, we like to think that we're thinking partners for our clients because in the end, there's a million different tactics, right?
Yeah.
I'm a CPA, we primarily do tax planning, but in the end, it's like you can't let the tax planning wag the dog. Like you really have to be able to say what really matters to me in my life, what values do I hold, and what makes sense in that lens to be able to go forward with.
And understanding the client's perspective on things and customizing it and personalizing it to that client. I think that a lot of people with social media, with so much noise in social media now, and they get all these advice and they probably send it to you. They definitely send it to me.
ChatGPT too, don't leave out that.
And they get all their advice from all these different places. It's so noisy out there. I feel like it's information overload a little bit for them. And then they're thinking like, okay, they pick on this one little piece that they like, but whereas I feel like we need to be the clarity partners for them, don't you think so? Would you say?
Oh, 100%. Like if I just think of the last 3 times people have sent me stuff, it was like, oh, I gotta do a Roth IRA for my child. Great, but they need earned income.
Yes.
So let's talk about what's reasonable from an earned income perspective and how do we build that into the plan? Oh, they're 2 years old. I'm gonna have a hard time getting you to earned income, right? So it's like, it's being able to identify like where they are, what's happening, and be able to build a plan that really makes sense for where their family is then, and then say, yeah, this could be great in the future. Like, we're definitely going to talk about this, but it doesn't make sense right now.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think for me, I mean, I spoke at the symposium, the summit for women with the AICPA, and it was really interesting that there was lots of financial professional there, but our specific part where we're CPA PFSs, we are geared towards understanding your money and putting your money in terms of goal oriented for that person. There was so much of those financial professionals that didn't understand a lot of the planning part or what, so you can be, it's like if you're a CPA, that does not mean that you're great with your money or you understand where you should go. You still need planning. It's like if you're doctors, right? Everybody says, okay, you're a doctor. If you're a doctor, that doesn't mean you can deliver a baby, or that doesn't mean you can have brain surgery on somebody,
That's funny. That's exactly what I bring up with prospective clients. Where I'm like, listen, we're not the medical profession. You don't know who's going to be able to help with the kids, pediatrician versus a heart surgeon. And so like you got to get to know the financial planner that you're bringing in and what their philosophy is and whether that philosophy is right for you or not.
Or whether they're financial planners. Like you can call it a CPA, but we have CPAs I have CPAs that I do planning for, but because they've been in audit or they've done they do different parts. Their specialty is not financial planning.
Well, and think about it, like CPAs originally did transactional work. It was like, I get paid for a number of hours I work on this. You come to me with a problem, we solve that problem, like we talk through that. There was no scope outside of that. And now when you look at financial planners in this space, there's this move towards more holistic planning where it's like, no, we're actually going to look at everything and really think about more strategically like how all of this comes together. And I think that's just part of the transition for CPAs is like getting out of that like, okay, this is the one thing I'm doing, like the tax return, this is the one thing I'm doing. I'm not doing tax planning right now, just tax return. We have to be able to think bigger about those issues at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, Dan and I talked about this in our podcast session, but we talk more about it's I'm having difficulties finding CPAs that are like tax planners
Yeah.
because in my space, because what's happening is that there's so many CPAs that are so busy just doing compliance. They don't have time to do the planning. And that's, going into our profession. How do we bring newer people in and get them excited about the sexiness of accounting and planning and CPA and being a CPA and all of that. What are your thoughts in terms of more women, more younger people? How do you think we're going to be able to do that?
Oh man, I feel like when I was coming through, it was a lot more difficult because I went to the University of Texas. They have a fantastic accounting program, but it was like, this is what you do.
Yes.
Like, you go to Big Four. You go up the chain. Like, this is what you do. It doesn't matter if you're having a good time. Like, this is just, you gotta,
This is the path.
This is the path. You gotta sit through it. You're gonna have your first year this, second year this, third year this. Like, it was just completely mapped out. And I feel like the opportunities are so much more vast now for CPAs, where it's like, hey, you don't have to go down that route.
No.
And so now the more clarity we can bring is to like, hey, like you can be a CPA, pass that test, and then decide on a totally different route, but you're gonna have so much of a better experience understanding everything that you do. Like, let's start with that. And so I think for a lot of women that are going through thinking about whether I become an accountant or not, and thinking about public accounting and like 80 hours a week of work, right? Like, we have to be able to re-educate people to say like, hey, you don't have to go down that path, or maybe you go for a year and you get that experience, but then open up those doors sooner. Don't feel like you're forced to stay on that path, and explore being an accountant internally at a business, like explore doing financial planning. I love the PFP program, and I think that that's been fantastic for a lot of people, and see that there are just so many more doors that are available to you, especially if you want to start your own business. I feel like the CPA is a wonderful foundation to have that kind of fiduciary standard, that legitimacy that then pushes you forward in being able to acquire new clients.
Yeah, and I think that I feel like in the past we've taken that badge that we work so much.
Yeah.
We feel like it's a badge. Oh my gosh, we're so busy. This is our life. We're so busy.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like we need to go away from that badge. It is not that bad. You get to pick a choice.
Yeah.
You get to have a choice. Like when I went, I agree with you. When I went to school, it was tax or audit. There was no other. There's forensic now. There's financial planning, which is really more needed than some tax and audit stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So it's really, really important that we as CPAs take on the responsibility of actually educating the public on more of what it is that we do, how important it is, and what a great profession it is.
Yeah, you'd say if my firm, we're a team of 7 now, none of us work 40 hours a week. All of us work 25 to 30 hours a week because we realized it was important to us to be able to be primary parents, to take care of our parents, to be able to have more time for things that we care about outside of work. So we brought in a much more like, what can we do? How efficient can we be? How well can we do for our clients? And make that the highlight, but not sitting in the office 40 hours a week. Like, use our brains when we know we can use our brains really well, enjoy that process, but not make that in our entire life. And I think that that's a huge opportunity that a lot of today's graduating CPAs are going to have to go forward with.
And I think that you're right but I feel like also in the profession and in just the world in general, people are struggling with having that hybrid. They're not understanding this model. I'm a firm believer in a hybrid work model where part of it is, and part of it isn't. And I'm a firm believer in that. But I think we're struggling a little bit on people wanting everybody back into the office, sitting at the desk, clocking the time.
Yeah. Well, it's up to the future to change that, right? The more people that question it, the more people that say, no, I have expertise. I don't need to work this many hours to be really effective in people's lives. Like, great. Let's change it all.
Awesome. And the two of us are definitely going to be the ones that do that. And we're at least going to try, right?
We're going to try.
We've been trying the last year, right? We've been trying the last year. And we're going to keep trying. And we want all of you guys to keep trying to go for what you want, and understand what it is. And like I said, I'm not a big time clocker person. I'm totally into the hybrid model, and I see that for the future, and I think you do too. So that's something we definitely have in common. Thank you, ma'am, for hanging out with me and
Always.
being on this podcast. And we will definitely have to do this again.
That sounds good. Thank you.